Hello, welcome back to JJ's Bakehouse. Today I'm going to be making a lovely Christmassy buttercream to go along with a ginger cake that we are going to shape into a mug, which is going to be like hot chocolate. I'm going to top it with everything, and then to finish it all off, then I'm going to add a chocolate bomb to the front, the hot chocolate bomb. So I've got lots to do today. So to begin, I am going to start with this Christmassy buttercream. Now, I'm not adding spice to this because my cake is going to be ginger spiced cake, and there's quite a bit in this, so I want the buttercream to be a little bit fresher. So I've zested a whole orange and a whole lemon there, and the smell of that is lovely, and that's just going to lift this buttercream a little bit. So we're going to start in the same way that we always do, with butter, and whipping it up the same way I always do for a good 8 to 10 minutes. If you've watched my tutorials before, you know this is the way it always goes. So normally I use 250 grams of butter just for cupcakes and 500 grams of icing sugar, but this is going to be for this cake, so I am actually making, what am I doing? It is going to be 750 grams of icing sugar and 375 grams of unsalted softened butter. So I will put the ingredients in the description. So same as usual, in goes the butter, and we're going to give that a whisk up. Now it's colder at the moment, so my room temperature butter sometimes isn't quite cold enough, but no, I think I'm going to get there. So here we go, medium to high speed, around about 8 minutes, and I'll be back to you. Oh, lovely. Right, that took a lot longer than usual, not into this cold weather. My butter doesn't like it, and if my butter doesn't like it, my mixer doesn't like it. Right, I've got there. So, my usual consistency, mousse-like, looks like you could almost take a spoon of it and eat it. Not that I would, but it does look like that. So that's where we want to be. Don't forget, that's what dissolves all this and creates a lovely smooth buttercream. So I've got my icing sugar, same as usual. We're going in 3 lots. So first third straight in, put it down, get my trusty tea towel and pop them on. There we go. And then we're going to put the speed up to medium. We never want to go past medium. To make the butter, brilliant, medium to high, but we don't want to go beyond because we don't want to get all of those bubbles in there. So that's as fast as I'm going to take this one. So just going to let that combine through, which it has. So I'm happy enough. Now I'm going to add my second lot. Going everywhere. There we are. And same process again. Pop my tea towel back on. Less mess to clean up, which makes me happy. Right, let that just combine through again, just up the speed 1. The only reason you're getting the air in the buttercream is this process. So you don't want to turn it up too high, because the higher it goes, yeah, it's going to look really fluffy and lovely, but that is just air. And then when you try and smooth around the side of the cake, that's your problem. Lots of air pockets. So, right. Now again, as I always say, I don't know if you've seen my videos before, I haven't stopped and scraped any of this because I have a creaming paddle, so it does it for me. This was my best purchase. I absolutely love it. So if you've got a creaming paddle, brilliant. If not, then do stop your mixer and scrape the sides down and do the job that the creaming paddle does. So I'm just lazy. Okay, in goes all of my icing sugar. I'm going to pop that on its last go round. There we go. Always starts the same, lowest speed that you possibly can. Just get that all combined in. And right now it should start to make a noise like it's not as soft. That's because it's getting thicker and thicker. For the moment, still very happy. That's because that butter was whipped so well to begin with, which is what we want. So I'm just going to leave mine like this, just to keep whirling around there for about 3 or 4 minutes at this speed, no higher. This is, if you've got a KitchenAid, I'm on number 4, and I wouldn't go any higher than that. If you've got a different one, then it's my second notch up. So let's leave that alone and do its thing, and I will be back to you in about 4 minutes. We'll leave that 4 minutes. Okie doke, see you in a minute. That's been going for a while. Now it's what I would call claggy. So I don't like my buttercream like this. Some people like stiffer buttercream, but it's just, I don't like it to work with. Now when I push the spatula around the side, you can't really see that many air pockets. So we're doing well with that and the speed. So I want to add some fluid to this now because I want it to be a lot silkier than this. I really like that silky look. To me, that doesn't look like I want to eat that. So you can add what you like. So when I say liquid, fluid, whatever, you can add your preference. So the options there are condensed milk, milk, cream, water. So you can add whatever is going to make this a little bit better. So first off, let's add my vanilla. I'm going to put a teaspoon, sorry, don't put a tablespoon in, a teaspoon of vanilla into there. And then I've also got this zest. So now this is going to go in. So the zest of the orange and the lemon, because I want, as I'm stirring this around, I want that flavour to start incorporating throughout. So hopefully the vanilla there is going to cut through that real citrus, sharp kind of taste, and it's going to give it a lovely flavour. So before I add any of, I'm adding water, let's just mix that up. On my lowest speed. I don't want to go any higher than that now. This is my final stages, and this always goes as low as your machine can. Right, now let's add. So I've got previously boiled water. Some people like cream, some people like milk, as I said. Really your own preference. So we start with a tablespoon. So I'm going to pop in a tablespoon there. And see how that goes. It's starting to look really, really smooth in there, which is exactly what I want. I'm just going to add one more. So for me, I think that the second one, that's it, is going to do it. Normally I add between 1 and 2 tablespoons, so it really depends on the volume I'm using, but I do it very much by eye. Right, I'm just going to scrape this down. My creamer is failing me. Right, it's because it got quite stiff around the outsides and I'm on such a low speed. I'm having to do some of the work. I can't be lazy. Right, let's get this off as well. There we go, it's starting to fall off there a little bit better, so we're not quite as claggy, which is what I want. Here we go. Now if you wanted to add spice to this, if you wanted to put a little bit in there as well, you could, but the cake that I'm making has so much flavour in it, I think sometimes it's just nice to have something that just cuts through that, so I don't want to add anything else into this. But again, the choice is yours. If you wanted to, I'd start with about a 1/4 teaspoon of either cinnamon or mixed spice, and that would just give it that little hint. So this is going to be left now for around about 3 or 4 minutes on its final whiz round, and then this will be good to use. So I'll see you in about 3 or 4 minutes. Thank you. This buttercream now is really, really silky. Just the way I like it. Now I did add 1 more tablespoon of water, so all in all there is 3 tablespoons of water in there, but I will write that in the description box for you anyway, so that you're geared and ready when you make this. There we go. Right, this is exactly the way I want it to be. So let's just remove all of this, try not to waste any. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to take the majority of this into my big bowl here. This is what I want, most of it. And then I'm going to keep back a small amount. So let's try and work out as in how much I've done. So I would say, oh, that lemony smell's hitting me. I would say, what are we doing? A third? No, a quarter. I've kept a quarter back. They're good at fractions. Right then. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, really, really scrape that bowl out. You don't want to waste it. Right, this section here, I can just ignore that for the moment. This one, I'm going to dye red. So, I made a mess. Let's get out a knife. And I've got Sugar Flare Extra Red, and I'm going to put that in. Give this a good go round. We're going to make a lovely pattern on the inside of this cake, and that's what the red is for. I'm going to go for a candy cane look on the inside. So, right, that's all with my knife. That extra red is so good. Really picks up that colour. Lovely. Right, so once that's all mixed up, this can be put to one side for when we need it in a moment. I'm going to make the cake. Now I always like to make my buttercream first because I like it to just have that chance just to all combine together and the flavours and any of that graininess dissolve into the buttercream and let it just rest. So that's it. Okay, that one is ready. And I will cling film that over and get ready to use that. That'll go into a piping bag. So let's move that and let's wipe my hands. Red. Why does red always stain and make it look like you've had a disaster? Okay, get rid of this. And then, with a piping bag, I'm just going to put some of this mixture into here. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm going to grab a nozzle, so give me 1 second. I've got my piping nozzle. I stupidly didn't put it in the bag first, so I had to waste another bag. Isn't my cleverest move? This is my new favourite one. It's a 2F. I love the design on this. just an extra little swirl. Okay. Brilliant. So I've only put a tiny little bit, and that's just to show you that the recipe that I'm going to be making for the cake for this can also be used for cupcakes, and here they are. They've got a lovely colour to them, and they smell, literally the spice off of that is so warming and wintry and festive. So I've done this so that you can see what they look like as cupcakes. When I put the recipe, the ingredients up for this, I will have it as a cake and then as cupcakes, and I don't change anything. So some of this, and there we go, and that you can see a little bit of the citrus coming through there as well. So I'll just do one more. Excellent, there we are. So that is the cupcakes as my ginger cupcakes, spiced Christmas ginger cupcakes. So I'll leave those there to one side. I'm going to clean all this up, and then we're now going to get on with that cake and start that recipe. So bear with me to clean up and I'll be with you. Okay, spiced ginger Christmas cake. This is if you can hear a hum, I'm really sorry. I've got 2 ovens going, and that my second oven is humming for some reason. I'm sure it's fine though. So I'm gonna have to, every now and again, look at my book and read this recipe, because this is a new one I've come up with and I might get slightly confused. So let's begin. I love this. I'm really happy with this one. So let's start with the dry. So to begin with, I have got 260 grams of plain flour. In with that, I am going to put 260 grams of light muscovado sugar, and then I also have 3/4 of a teaspoon of bicarb, and in there is 3/4 of a teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 a teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/2 a teaspoon of cinnamon, and in that goes. And then we're just going to sieve all that through. The reason that I sieve the sugar there as well is because sometimes it can have lots of lumps in the muscovado. Yeah, and it just makes life a lot more difficult. So I'm just going to help this through. Also, if you mix them all together and sieve them all through, you know then that all the ingredients are completely combined, so you don't need to worry that it's not mixed up and you've got certain bits here and certain bits there. So those spices are exactly what you want at Christmas time. They are so warming and so flavourful. Really, really lovely. Even the smell just makes me think of Christmas. I love it. So this is coming through nicely. Fingers now. Yeah. Brilliant. Just squeeze them all and get them through. You want to get as much as you can through with this, because a lot of those spices could have been left behind and you really don't want to waste any of those. So you are going to end up here with those gritty lumps that you wouldn't want in your cake. So that's the reason. So I know it's not a lot, but that's my gritty bits. So there we go. Right, just give this a final stir around, and I know that's all completely incorporated, and that's probably the longest process of this recipe. Because if you've done my recipes before, you know they don't take long. They're quite quick. So, right then. So to go along with those then, I have got 4 eggs. Pop those straight in. I have got I am looking, don't know how much I put in, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And with my buttermilk, now I've made my own buttermilk, So I've got milk in there, and then I used vinegar to make it because I like vinegar and bicarb together. So that's the reason I've done this. So you can use buttermilk, but I really would recommend using the vinegar with milk on this one. So I've got 180 mils of milk in there, and to that I added a tablespoon of cider vinegar or white vinegar. So that has made it really lumpy, just the way it's meant to be. So pop that in. And then the final thing, sticky. I've got 1.5 tablespoons of treacle, which never plays the game properly. There we go. Right, let's try and get that off as best we can. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now we're going to do our usual, and we are going to stir this up on a very small speed. Oh, there we go, it hit me out. Okay, lowest speed there is, just to completely combine this up. It is quite a wet mixture. So, let me just, while that's going, let me just tidy that up. Put this away. That one, take this one. And then I've got myself a jug ready. I've also got my tins ready to go here as well. So this one's a big one, and that's why I've got a different oven, because this will go in, because there'll be a little bit more mixture in this one. And this will go into my other oven, so that obviously I can't open. These two are going to take me around about 20 minutes. This is going to take obviously 40 minutes, and I can't open the oven midway because it will sink. So, right, see what I mean? It is a wet mixture. Hey, there we go. Let's take it off of there. Again, I'm using my creaming paddle, so if you need to get in there and scrape all the sides down, make sure that you do. You don't want to lose any of this mixture behind. Might want to give it a scrape halfway through, and then start again. Right then. There we go. Now it's time to put these in. Now I'm going to cook these on a lower heat today. I'm going to cook these between 140 and 150 on a longer time. So I'm going to be putting these in for around about 25 minutes to begin for these two. And obviously this one is going to go in for that bit longer. So I've got the bigger tin there, and there's probably about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches worth of mixture in this one here. So that one I'm going to put in for 40 minutes, and these two I'm going to put in for 25 and have a little look at them. So I'm going to put these in the oven and I'll come back to you. Okay? Right, so my cakes have come out of the oven, and they are extremely moist. Lovely, really pleased with those. So again, that was just that same. I've got cupcakes there, and I've got these here. I did bake them on a lower heat because I find they get a flatter top. So I baked mine at 150 degrees, as I said before. Now, I was going to try it for 23 minutes. They actually took between 27 and 30. So obviously that lower heat, they need to go a lot longer. So for this size, which is about 1 inch, it took between 27 and 30 minutes for that to bake through. So now we're going to stack these. This is my mug, obviously. So I've got the buttercreams that we did earlier. So I'm just going to cut off the bottom because I put them into bags. And first off, put a little bit on there. I have one of these sponges that's a little bit smaller than the others, but I'll just pop that on the bottom, that's fine. So, then we're just going to build this up. Now, the way I'm going to do this is take one around there, and then we've got our red. You want to make sure you cut them around about the same length, and then again, making sure that they touch. We're going to go all the way around. So we're going to continue, I should say, with this pattern all the way around. There we go. There we go. It can be a little bit tedious, but it will be worth it when we get to see, when we cut into it. And it's that little bit of extra woo factor. There we are, and then just a last little dunk of that one in the middle. And then we'll put the next one on, flip that one so flatter. Right, I'm going to continue to stack these because you don't want to watch me, it's boring, and I'll come straight back to you as soon as I've done it. Right, there's my last one. Let's just pop this on. There we go. So we've got that lovely candy cane kind of look going through. So now you've still got the white left and you've got the red. Now I'm going to use up as much of this red as I can just to crumb coat this cake. I'm using up the red because I want the white for the top of the hot chocolate effect. So I'm just going to use up as much as I can of this red. into these bits to make a really smooth edge because I prefer to do it that way. So mine's done for the moment. This is going to go into the fridge, as I've said, and I will come back to you in about half an hour to 45 minutes. Okay, see you then. Right, let's make some ganache that I'm going to whip up here. So I have just weighed out 200 grams of milk chocolate, and here I've got 100 mils of double cream. So that is going to go into my microwave on 30-second bursts. And what I'm going to actually do, I'm going to put it in for 30 seconds. Mine's a 900 watt microwave. So I put that in, take it out, give it a stir around, put it in for another 30 seconds, and then I'll come back and we're going to leave it in front of me and we'll see where we are then. So bear with me. Right, this has had 30 seconds in the microwave. I took it out and stirred it, put it back in for another 30 seconds, and I've just left it there for about 20 to 30 seconds so that that cream can do its thing. And as you can see, I'm going to start stirring it around. Takes a minute to incorporate there. There we go. Look at how silky that is. Absolutely gorgeous. Right, now there is our ganache. Now, I want to whip this because I like to whip my ganache. So, I want to use it and not wait ages. So, what I do, get my little jug back, I'm going to pour this into my jug. I always forget to make ganache ahead of time when I need it, so this is the easiest thing for me to do. Right, don't want to waste any. So, get that into there, give it a mix because it's what I had the cream in. Make sure it's all incorporated. Lovely. Then I'm going to get some cling film. Pop some, no I'm not actually, not going to put cling film. I have got here, sorry, confusing you, I've got here a bowl of iced water, and the handle part to the jug just allows that to stay there. So what I'm going to do is get a little spoon, pop that in, and give that a stir around about every 2 minutes, just to make sure it doesn't solidify over. But this is going to cool that mixture right down, which means I'm going to be able to use it. Now I do this a lot with drips and a lot of things because I always forget to make it ahead of time. So this will just cool it to exactly where I want it to be. So there's a little tip for you. So I'm going to leave that to one side there for a second and grab my mixer and ready to whisk that up. So let me get everything ready for you. Right, that's cooled. So I need it in a bigger space. So I'm going to transfer it into this jug here. And then I'm going to use my hand mixer, just to whisk this up. Now it can take a while to begin with, but it is worth using one of these and you will get there. So lovely. I'm going to keep this going for around about 2 minutes and come back to you. You can't hear a word I'm saying, so I will come back. Okay, that took me about 3 or 4 minutes and it's just gone really, really light in colour, and that's just the way I like to do it. You can just use your ganache straight off, but I like to do it this way. So there we are, that's the way I like to use it, whipped with a little bit of air in there. So now we're going to go and grab our cake out of the fridge and we're going to put the ganache over the top of it and then pop it back into the fridge again just to allow that ganache to set. So let's go and grab our cakes. So now this is nice and touchably smooth, it's not tacky or anything. So I've got myself a sharp knife and then I'm just going to just follow around the top here. There we go. There's my tub here. Just do it as quickly as you can out of the fridge because you don't want it to begin to melt, because then you won't get where you want to be. There we are. Let's take all of that away. Lovely. And then I've got my straight corners there that I would like. So I'm happy enough with that. So now, on with the ganache. into the fridge again. And we'll go on with the next part. While we wait for the cake to set properly, it's time to roll out the fondant. So I always put my fondant in the microwave before I use it. It makes it so much easier. So I've just put that in the microwave for 30 seconds and it is so much more elastic and so much easier to work with. So that's that. Now I have measured my cake in height and my cake is about 5 inches in height. So I know that's where I need to be. And then I also know it needs to fit around that. So I could be stand there measuring it, but I'm being lazy, unfortunately. So, right, now comes the fun bit. I hate rolling fondant. Rolled and I've got my cake out. It's lovely to touch, so just want to go around and get my sharp edge around the outside there. Lovely. Then I just need to grab my scraper. Just go across the top just to flatten all of that out. A little bit there that wasn't quite dry. There we are, that sorts all that out. Lovely. So I'm really happy with that. So what we're going to need to do now is put the fondant on, but first I've got this horrible chocolate around the bottom which is going to go everywhere, so we just need to clean our boards up just to make sure that you're not going to be getting all that chocolate on the mug of your cake, on the white. So we need to clean up the boards and then dampen our hands down, just to dampen the outside of the cake with your hands. So just put hands underneath the tap and just pop your hands around. We're not worrying about the top because the top's going to be all covered in. So just need to make sure that it's stickable. So let's sort that out now. Okay, now we need to get our fondant onto our cake. Pull mine forward so you can see. And then whichever way you like to do this, I am just, you can use a rolling pin, but I'm actually quite happy just to drape mine around using my hands. There we go. So if you do use a rolling pin, just roll it up on there. There we go. And then when you get to your edges, just need to take a sharp knife and follow a line, push in and go all the way up in as straight a line as you possibly can. So let's take that one off there, rip that. Okay, and then pull that back slightly, and then we just need to take this other piece out. And pull it back a little bit. There we go. Excellent. And then making sure you don't have any chocolate on your hands at all. Push them in together to meet. The neater you can do this, the less of a seam you are going to get. There we go. I'm going to use this section here where I'm going to put my hand on anyway, so I am just going to push the two sides in together. As best as possible, and then take one of my acetate scrapers and just lightly work the two together. Don't push hard, you'll upset the cake. There we go, that one's coming together nicely. There we go, just gently. It will happen, so don't worry. I don't want to work the cake too much, so I'll be back to that in a moment. Right, lift up the top. And we do want to have a little overhang, so let's not worry about it being too neat for the moment. Just with a sharp knife, guide your way around the top of the cake. Once we can see it standing, there you go. If it gets too much, just take some off. You'll be able to get it neater. So again, all the way around. Touch chocolate, so I've got chocolate on my fingers. Just wipe my hand. Lovely. Right, and then you can either use a knife or you can use a pair of scissors. You just stick those two bits together there. There we are, and then push those two together. On the bottom of that. Get in there. Lovely. There we go. Okay, I think I'm going to get scissors for mine because it's easier to do. Don't concentrate on the top, that'll throw you off. Look at the gap between the cake and what you're trying to do. So you can see the shadow between. So concentrate on that. Okay. And then using your fingers, just soften the whole thing down. If you feel like you've got extra parts popping up that you've not gone completely, just go around and trim it down that little bit more. Or you can use a knife for the intricate bits. Now it's easier to see them. And just keep smoothing them in with your fingers. don't have a point across the top of a mug. It is so kind of, I'm pushing in slightly to create a round lip. So just slightly pushing in. Okay, so there we go. That's given you that mug-like lip across the top, which I'm happy with that there. But very soft. And there we are. So trying to keep it all out at the same height, so none's falling in on itself. And there we go. Right, handle. So I'm going to put my handle in the side here to hide some of this gap. Now I had put that in there, I don't think I'm going to need it, I'm only going to need the top one. So I need something to stick this with. So you can use a bit of royal icing, you can use anything, but I'm going to actually use a little bit of piping gel because I like that, it works really well for me. So let me grab my piping gel and we'll pop that off. Right, so I've got my piping gel, and I don't need lots. So just across my bottom part here, and then just in here, just so that it does secure. So I'll just put it on and then take it back off again so that there's not an excess on there. Also going to put a little bit on this so that this does stick. There we go. So as you can see, all I've done is created like a round mark. So I'm going to push this in where I think it should go. I'm happy with that there. There we go. And the seam gives you a guide there. Push that down. There we are. So we have a handle. That bottom bit in. Let me see what it looks like from this side. Make sure all the joins are in. There we are, that piping gel works lovely. I do like piping gel. Just hold on to it there for a second. I don't think you'd be picking this one up with the handle. Right, that's sticking now. So we need to go on to the topping. Lovely. So I've got that buttercream from earlier, so I'm going to grab my buttercream from earlier, tidy this down, and then we are going to get on with the topping. Right, I made a Santa's hat, so this is going on the front of my cake. So I'm going to use the piping gel, hang on, that I got rid of, to stick it. Knife back. Then on the back of my Santa hat, just going to put piping gel over the back of this so that it sticks. Right then. Sorry, you're not going to see me put this on because I need to be able to see what I'm doing. Right, so there's my Santa hat on. So I'm going to also put some like ho 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 Merry Christmas around this side, which I will stick on later. So first off, let's do this buttercream. Here it is. Here's our buttercream from earlier. I've got a separate piping bag with a 1M inside. And this is going to be the effect of the cream across the top. Let's get rid of that. Right. So just load it up a little bit first. Here we go. Take this and just smooth this out a little bit across the top. So I've got a surface to work on. And if you wanted to make coffee or tea, this is how this would kind of look now. You'd cover this over across the top. Pop little bits across. Right, this isn't cut enough, so cut it right back. Right then. The piping bag doesn't like me. Here we go. There we go. So there's your cream all across the top, and then I've got some sprinkles just to pop over as well. There we go. And then we also need a little bit of cocoa powder on this one. Very gently with this, so just some cocoa powder on the top there, just to pop across the top. You don't want to do too much because you don't want it to tip down the sides. And then I've also got some marshmallows, which we are going to scatter around as well. There we go, and that's it for the moment. So I'm going to get my words for the rest of the cake. I'm also going to add a hot chocolate bomb across the front on the cake board. So that's the mug essentially for the moment, and we will get sorted and do the rest in a moment. Right, so our cake is done. I have put it onto a cake board. I made this cake board earlier, and then this is the cupcakes that were made out of the same sponge mix as what we've got inside. So I've just put one of those there. I've also made some of the hot chocolate bombs that is the new trend. So if you want to see how I made these, have a little look on my channel because they're there. So I'm just gonna put one of these on the front as well, just because it is part of I'm not going to chocolate that down actually because I don't want it should stick to the board enough. Right, so that's following through on the hot chocolate theme there, so I've got those. I've added a candy cane. Now I made these candy canes out of fondant, so I've got those. I'm just going to pop a couple across the front, just there, and some marshmallows as well. So just sprinkle a couple of those across the front of the board there too. You can stick these on with a little bit of piping gel. There we go. So here's my piping gel, just out of a mould, and I'm just going to pop these on. So you can decorate your mug with whatever you'd like. And lastly, I've got some chocolate here. So I am just going to create, oh, if it would stop falling apart. Some scissors here to chop this top part off. There we go. Right, I'm just going to create like a drip effect. So across the top here, because obviously it being hot chocolate, I'm just going to, just as if we would with a drip, I just want a little bit of chocolate across the front there so you can actually see that it is hot chocolate, giving that illusion. Again, a little bit of a drip coming down there. And I'm going to do that all the way around, just around to the edges. So when you have a hot chocolate, sometimes you can just see it oozing from underneath, and that's the illusion that I'm just trying to create there. Just like you'd be doing with your drip cake. Don't do it the whole way round. Don't let them like touch constantly, because there will be a certain parts where it just doesn't seem to happen. If that makes any sense. Okay. Am I happy enough with that? I'm just going to do a little bit more of a drip coming down this side where my crease was, which will just cover that over a little bit. And I think that if you put candy cane in there, it would force something over the top as well. So there we go, and then just random places around. I'm just going to put some more chocolate just up around there. Oh, I'm getting covered in it now. There we go. Right, and that, I'm getting covered, it's going everywhere. I'm going to clean that up. I am all finished. That is my Christmas mug ginger cake. So I'm not quite sure what to call this, hang on. This is my spiced Christmas ginger cake hot chocolate mug with a hot chocolate bomb and a side of ginger cupcake. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it's helpful. I hope you really like the cake. I am going to get some pictures of it now, and then I'm going to pop straight back and I'm going to cut into it to see if I've got that proper candy cane look on the inside. I need to get pictures first before I hack into this. So give me a second to go and get some pics, and then I will come back and we will cut a slice. Okay, see you in a minute. Right, I've managed to get my pictures, so now I have to cut it, and I'm scared. So I'm cutting it from the back because I need to be able to catch it. Right. Moment of truth. Where am I going? Here. Wow, that's a big slice. Okay. It's very red. So there is red in there. How easily is it going to pull out? Why do these things, when you're on camera, not come out? There we go. There we have the two-toned effect there. Let's pop that piece onto there. And if I spin it round, there we go. We have the candy cane effect going through. Obviously, if I left this longer, it's going to solidify more. Have only recently just made this cake. So, there we have it. Lovely soft sponge in there. Looks really, really good, and throughout the middle. So I am now done. We have created the mug cake, and I will see you again shortly. Take care. Bye bye.